what would be quite normal. So if you can get a really good control of your operations to eliminate scrap, eliminate poor yields, and get efficient production, you should be able to generate significantly better than 10% margins.
And when you say significantly better, you say up to 15?
Oh, yeah, I would expect that. Yes, definitely. You need to be generating EBITDA levels of 10% plus. You certainly have to be significantly higher than that at your gross margin level. And bluntly, if you're not generating EBITDA of that kind of level in the manufacturing industry, you're not in a healthy condition, really. And other companies do it. If you look at some of the others, the likes of PCC, Eaton, Parker, those bigger guys who've got significant presence in the market, that allows them to control margins to a better degree. And that is a factor with PFW. It's the scale factor. That if your if your turnover is in excess of 10 to 20 billion compared to a few hundred million, you've got some significant supplier power with the OEMs, and you need it because, as I said earlier, the likes of Airbus and Boeing will use their buyer power mercilessly. And they will grind you into the dust unless you've got some power to resist.
Understood. Maybe one bit that I saw while looking on the website of your former company, PFW, so it said you also do fuel tanks. So is that a big thing for PFW? Is that a good position, or is that just historically you have been there and doesn't make too much money?
No, it's a nice piece of business. But just to explain what we're dealing with there, most passenger aircraft today, and by this I mean the 737, the Boeing Dreamliner, the 787, 777, and the Airbus aircraft, the 320, the 330, the 350, and the 380. All of those aircraft are designed such that the free space, and I mean by this the interior of the wing and the cavity underneath where the passengers sit, is a fuel tank. I don't know if you realise that, but most of the free space inside the wing is a fuel tank. Now, what has happened, though, is, particularly in the case of the single-aisle aircraft, the A320, some operators say, because of our geography and where we're based, we want to fly the aircraft on longer, thinner routes. And by that means they take slightly less payload, but they fly the aircraft on a much longer range. And in order to do that, they have to fit an extra fuel tank, an additional fuel tank, as it's known. And particularly on the single-aisle aircraft, the A320, that has been a significant and growing business for PFW. And it's exactly what it says. I think there might even be pictures on the PFW website. It's a fuel tank that sits in the cargo hold. If you can imagine, when you go to the airport, you sometimes see these containers which are full of luggage. There's some aluminium boxes, and they fill up with luggage. If you can imagine two of those put together, that's sort of truncated on the bottom half, that looks like an additional fuel tank. It's that kind of shape, and it sits where the luggage goes, basically. And that gives another, say, 500, 600 miles range on the aircraft. And that's increasingly interesting because what's happening is, in the market, is a lot of operators are flying their aircraft for longer ranges. You're seeing this now where they're beginning to fly the A320s and the 321s. They're flying it across the Atlantic. That was unheard of 10 years ago. And in order to do that, you need to fit extra fuel tanks. And that's been quite an attractive business for PFW.
So when you say it's an attractive business, you talk about margin?
Yes. Basically.
So does it have a higher margin than the tubes?
I need to be really careful here, Daniel. But as a structure, it's a complex structure.